Hi everybody, I am Dr. Haritha welcoming you all for today's session on arrays in C programming. What is an array? What is this concept? What is an array is? An array is a static collection. What array, right? What is an array is a static collection of similar data items stored in contiguous memory locations. The definition is here very important. The definition specifies what an array is. It is, see here, observe these keywords. It is a static collection of similar data items stored contiguously. That is an array. That is, if you want to store a pool of data, then we recommend you an array. Instead of, suppose if I want to store 100 integers, 100 numbers. So for that, what is required? You have to declare 100 variables, int n1, int n2, int n3, int n4 and so on, int 100, n100. See, declaring 100 variables, managing 100 variables, remembering 100 variables is definitely a tedious task. Sending these variables in between the functions. It's not that much easy. If the input grows, if the input is large, too large, then is it feasible to suggest individual variables? But the constraint is they belong to the same data type. The pool of values you want to store under a single name. Suppose if I want to store 100 integers, then I have to declare an array of 100. This is the syntax. This is the syntax to declare an integer array. What is the syntax to declare an array? You have to specify the data type. Why? Because you are going to store the similar data items. The data type must be same to all the stored entities. And then name of the array and then size of the array. Why? Because array is a static, fixed. Its size must be known well in advance before you use it. That is, at the time of definition or declaration, its size must be announced. Right? So size is a static, that is static collection of similar data items, that is it must hold the same data type items only. And what is this contiguous? And how do you refer to it? Right? So whenever I declare, for the sake of simplicity and understanding, I will take the array size to be 5, int a of 5. As we have explained you at the time of variable declaration, whenever you declare a variable, internally it will allocate space, right? So an array of 5 cells, an array of 5 cells, right? Size is fixed, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each is capable to store one integer. and This is the name and this is the address. Addresses are in hexadecimals. Let us suppose 103, 105, 107, 109 are being the addresses of each cell. Right? The value will be stored inside. The value will be stored here. This is going to be storing the values. Whenever you declare an array, it is going to be stored internally like this. 5 integer spaces is being allocated if the size is 5 and the data type is an integer. And then how do you distinguish? Suppose if I want to store all 5 students' marks, each one have their own distinct marks, right? And they should represent one unique student. How would I access? I have given the same name to all the variables. By definition, I am saying you a single name to collection of values. Then how can I access is with a subscript or offset. That is, see here, in C language, offset starts with 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. That is, this is a relative address, my dear students. How far it is from the beginning of the array? 0 units, 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units and 4 units. In fact, a name of the array is a constant pointer, stores the beginning of the array address. Right? In reality, your a is a pointer that stores the beginning of your array. Constant pointer that stores the base address of your array. From then you have a relative address. What is that relative address? From 101 address, how far it is? 0 units, 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units and 4 units. Therefore, what is the name here in order I have to access is this is a of 0 by using a subscript operator, a of 1, a of 2, a of 3, a of 4. This is called as a subscript operator, used to refer to your individual elements of your array. Individual elements of your array. Therefore, unlike any normal variable, as I said, suppose if you declare int b, what happens? 3 values: name of the variable, its address and its value. The same way, for every cell in your array has name is a of 0, you can refer it as a of 0 and its address is 101 and its value is this, and this name is a of 1 with your subscript operator. Offset starts with 0 and ends at n minus 1, where n is the maximum capacity of your array. Here the maximum capacity is 5, therefore n minus 1, 5 minus 1 is 4. You start at 0, end at n minus 1 cell to refer to all the individual cells of your array. Right? Therefore, how to access name of the array followed by subscript operator, and this is your offset. How far it is from the beginning of the array. Understood? I repeat, what is an array? An array is a static collection of similar data items stored contiguously. What do you mean by contiguous? See here, they are stored contiguous, one after other. Therefore, if you know the base address, you can reach to the end of the array by incrementing it by 1. Starting from 0 by 1, incremented by 1 plus 1, by increment it by 1 2, increment it by 1 3, and so on, you reach to the end of the array. Therefore, storage is contiguous, but accessing mode of an array is random. If I want to get the marks of a third student, I can straight away call A of 2, fifth student A of 4. I should not do it sequentially, start from beginning, get V1 and 1 1 until I reach third student. No, straight away I can fetch the data. Therefore, accessing mode is random, whereas storage is contiguous and static. Understood? There are different types of arrays, one dimensional, two dimensional and multi-dimensional arrays you have. In this session, I am trying to explain you what is a one dimensional array. Means only one dimension, only one row, and in each row how many columns you have. Imagine a bench as a one dimensional array, right? In a bench, how many of you can sit? Suppose the capacity is 5. Suppose the capacity is 5. So therefore, how many of you can sit? 5 students per bench. Yes. So, and that is first student, second student, third student, fourth student, and fifth student in only first bench. Only one row, and you have 5 columns. Right? You can see he pictorially here. This is how it is. The name of the array is marks. Okay, marks of 0 identifies first number, first cell in the array. Marks of 1, marks of 2, marks of 3, and so on, marks of 4. And the green rectangles will give you the address. Each cell is being addressed, that is 3020, 22, 24, and so on. And inside is the value 90, 97, 95, 99, and so on. Right, of course, there is a disadvantage with arrays. Why? Because they are static in storage. If initially you demand a huge volume of input size, array size to be, and you are unable to accommodate all the cells, obviously there is always a wastage of space. And the other side, if you have huge demand than your requested capacity, then you cannot grow or shrink your array dynamically in C. It is fixed, that is static collection of similar data items stored in contiguous memory cells is claimed to be an array, right? So without, I cannot list what are the advantages and applications of arrays in a single note. Anything, especially all data structures can be implemented using your arrays. Array is the basic data structure, basic data store, and with that you can store pool of values, or you can implement any data structure for your applications being developed. Right? There are two categories broadly, one dimension and multi-dimension. Under multi-dimension you have 2 dimension, 3 dimension, and so on, n dimensional arrays. As I said earlier, you have declared like this int a of 4, therefore 4. And remember always, what are the primitive data types in C language? What are the primitive data types in C language? Primitive data types: int, char, float, double, int, char, float, double and void. These 5 are the primitive or basic data types in C language. And your array is claimed to be a derived data type, and you can have all the primitive ones to be your arrays. You can have an integer array, character array, float array, double array, like this. Array is a derived one. And how do you initialize arrays? What are the initial values? See, if I declare int a of 5, what happens? This is obviously an automatic storage class if I didn't specify anything. Therefore, what is the value of all the 5 cells? It is garbage only. It is garbage, unknown values. Then how do I initialize is, there are several ways to initialize. See here, int, okay, a of 5 is equal to square, this is the syntax, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is one way to initialize your one-dimensional array. Only you will specify the row, single size. Then it will be claimed to be a one-dimensional array. So what happens initially is F0, F1, F2, F3, F4, right? 2, 3, 4, and name of the array is A. So what are its initializations? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 1. And you can also do like this, int a of 5 is equal to some 7. What happens? Once again an array of size 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, name is A. The first cell is initialized with 7 and rest all by default zeros. If you don't initialize all the declared cells, then uninitialized ones will be initialized with zeros. All these are valid, right? And also, suppose if you declare like this, int a without specifying says, and you initialize 11, 12, right? What happens? An array of size 2 will be declared. This is also valid. But this is invalid. If you simply throw like this, this is invalid. This must be given. Size must be fixed. But when you compare this fourth and third is, here even though if it is unspecified, size is unspecified, but you are initializing, and it will count and set the size of the array to be those many elements that are initialized. Understood? Yes. Is it clear? This is how you have to initialize an array. That is a one-dimensional array. One-dimensional array has only one row and n columns, where n gives you the static size of your array, guys. All right. Yeah. Compile time or static time initialization is this. Runtime initialization is reading the array values. How do you read and how do you write? This is how, with zeros. If you say zeros, this is same garbage values. Same I have explained. Okay. So here the size is not mentioned. In that case, the array of size 5. Right? How to read an array is, how to write an array is like this, with the name, that is with offset, So how to read 5 numbers and compute, how to read some n numbers, right? I'll tell you how to read some n numbers. Declare an array of n, some 5. Okay. So after this I have to read these 5 elements. So for that you need to have, suppose normally if I want to read a of 0, what is that statement? See, the moment I declare like this, internally I have 5 cells, yes or no? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, A. Now I have to read each of these 5 cells. Okay, first let me start with reading. So for that I have to write how many scanfs? 5 scanfs, right? In the percentage t ampersand. What is the name of this variable? A of 0. A of 0. Like this I have to write F1, F2, F3, F4, F5. Yes or no? F1, F2 and so on, F4. That is here my subscript, my offset is ranging from 0 to 4, both inclusive. So instead of writing these many scanfs, I will run. See, same, how to read an integer variable with a different offset. So always more than one read is required by array. Therefore, for all one dimensional arrays, you require one loop to read. Int I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, where 5 is the size. If you want it to be n, fine. Once I write this here I, so then replace 0 with I, replace 0 with I. So that when I is 0, I will read A of 0, when I is 1, I will read A of 1, when I is 2, I will read A of 2, and when I is 3, I will read A of 3, when I is 4, I read A of 4. So this is the way you have to read a one dimensional array. I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. This is how we are climbing to be a dynamic initialization of your array, and that is at the time of execution you read the values and write it onto your array cells. The similar way, if you want to print the array values, you have to support by I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, and then print all the values. Printf percentage t A of I. This is to read a one dimensional array, and this is to write a one dimensional array. This is fixed. Understood? The single scanf will associated with a single for loop serves the purpose of reading a pool of values, thousands of values also within only these two statements. 1000 times your scanf gets repeated if your array size is to be 1000. How beautiful it is. The beauty of iterative statements along with arrays can do wonders in coding. Understood? This is how you have to read and print, and then the similar way you can access with a support of your for loops. Right? The example problem is read 5 integers and find the sum and average. While reading itself, sum equal to sum plus each element f0, f1, f cumulative sum, and then average. And also the question is to print how many numbers are above the average. There are 2 numbers, average is 30, and therefore there are 2 numbers greater than average 30. So simply copying of an array that must be done. You see, you cannot write like this. That is the cause of writing this program, I guess. Suppose you have 2 arrays, int a of 10 comma b of 10, and I have read values onto a of 10, okay, or otherwise a of 10 or f2 is equal to 1 comma 2 and then int b of 2, and I cannot ask, is it a legal statement b is equal to a? Can I write like this? Right? It is not valid. Okay, so if you want to have a copy of your existing array, so take out each and every element and copy it on individually, element by element, element by element. This is an example program to copy an array of elements. Right, the string part, string arrays, and that will be dealt once we are dealing with strings and all. These are the few self-assessment questions. Follow through these questions and predict outputs also there. And for any further reference, these are the reference books and web links for your further reference. Right? I guess one-dimensional array is clear to all of you. Thank you so much.